children's and youth literature is the literature we started in our lives, and it remains because we have children, we have grandchildren. That's the literature that really makes us readers, that introduces us to critical thought.
Literature is the tool of social progress. If you talk to anybody who has started in one place and ended up somewhere different, a lot of the time they'll talk about the books that they read.
Welcome to the 20th International Literature Festival of Berlin. We're here at the beautiful cultural center Silent Green, and today is the opening day of the youth section of the Literature Festival. We're now listening to some parts of the opening performance with writer Sally Nicolls and host Ada Bieber.
I'm super thrilled to see you all here after month and month of being at home and doing homeschooling. It's utterly important to have youth literature at any festival, but particularly here, I think, because it's such a famous festival, so many critical voices from all over the world come here, and to have children's and youth literature as a big part of the festival is it's just fantastic because it gives it a prominent place. It puts it on the same level as all other literatures that we have and discuss. So it's kind of intertwined with all the books that are out there.
She was great. No, she's the only one who's
Yeah.
I mean, they're ridiculous books. They are completely ridiculous books, but I love them.
But they're comforting, and you get into the stories. And Sally Nicolls is a famous writer from England for youth novels and children's books, and she was really famous for the novel Ways to Live Forever, which was made into a film even, and she got awards for that. But then she continued to write books, and so you can really immerse yourself into writing, into the ideas and stories you have in your head. And as I said at the beginning, I read that you already had that as a child. So during childhood, you tried to make your life, if I understood that correctly, more like a book. And I would be interested what that means.
I have been a reader my whole life, and I think I was writing before I knew how to. I was writing in my head before I knew how to write on paper. I think children need to be able to imagine themselves as somebody else in order to feel empathy for that person. And it's also a tool of understanding. I have small children, and they don't understand always how they feel about things. And to read a book that names the emotions and names the process and makes that story, contains it, it gives children power. My editor, who was the same editor as that anthology, invited me for lunch, and she said, you're obviously interested in early feminism, would you like to write a book about the suffragettes? And I thought for about 2 seconds and went, oh, yes, that's amazing. What an interesting concept. The book is called Things a Bright Girl Can Do, and it's about the suffrage movement in Britain at the beginning of the 20th century, which was the campaign for women to have the vote.
It's about the suffragette movement in 1914 to 1918 in England, and it's about women fighting for the right to vote, get the vote, first of all. And then we see three girls, young women in their teenage years, and they have different reasons to fight for it, and we hear their voices and their pathways through these years. They're all different from each other. It's Evelyn, and it's May and Nell, and they come from different social backgrounds and from different ideas.
Evelyn is a girl from an upper middle class family, and she is drawn to the suffragettes because she's told she can't go to university like her brother can. So it's quite a personal fight for her. She's a member of the more violent suffragettes. May is a suffragist. She believes in using peaceful methods to get the vote. She's also a Quaker and a lesbian, and she's involved, as the First World War happened, she's involved in the pacifist movement. She also forms a love affair with Nell. Nell is a working class girl. She works as a packer in a jam factory, and she's paid half per box what a man is paid for doing the same job. So for her, the fight for the vote is about economic empowerment.
Before we go maybe more into detail of talking about the characters, you can read us a passage, like a part of the book, and it's about Evelyn, I think, when she's meeting up with the suffragettes.
She had, however, agreed to take a slot selling the Suffragette on street corners. I thought Saturday morning would be best, she said to Teddy. On the high street, or maybe outside the church. Somewhere where lots of mother's friends will see me. Evelyn had not told her parents about the suffragettes. What exactly do you think is going to happen when your parents find out about this? Said Teddy, amused despite himself. It's hardly going to help you get to Oxford, is it? Evelyn flushed. I don't know, she said, and I don't care. They subjugated me and they've ruined my life, and they damn well ought to know it. I don't really know very much about the situation with women in Berlin, I'm afraid, so I don't know how to compare them, but certainly in Britain this is a fight that is not won yet. Women are 10 times more likely to be the sole carer for a child. There are only 3% of rapes result in conviction. Women earn less than men across the board. Anecdotally, things like the Me Too movement. We hear a lot of stories of women who feel their contribution is less valued than that of men. This is a real, and also for men are more likely to commit suicide. They're more likely to have mental and physical illnesses that are untreated. This is an issue which affects all of us. Suffragists. Well, I think the biggest issues we're facing at the moment are different now. I feel the most pressing issues are things around the climate change. Climate change activists have taken up a lot of the media in Britain, certainly, and I think it's a really interesting debate which draws a lot of parallels with the suffrage movement. How we get this very urgent message across to people that change needs to be happening now, and there's been a lot of debate about whether we should be using violent methods or more peaceful things, and it just shows that the problems that we're facing the suffragists haven't gone away.
And especially thank you, Sally, for coming out to Berlin and opening the festival today. It was an honor and a pleasure to be with you today, and again, help me to applaud Sally for